Hello, welcome to the House of Ingram. I am your host, Eric Ingram, with my lovely wife, Wendy.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, I like that. And on today's show, we have the master motivator, the monster motivator, Dave Daley. How you doing, Dave?
What's up, big man? Glad to be here.
We are honored that you even took the time out of your busy schedule to come talk to us. And we are so blessed to have him, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are ready to take some notes. I hope you're ready to be motivated because I'm telling you, this guy is a monster motivator.
I'm already motivated.
I'm ready to go.
I'm in the Ingram house with two good-looking bald guys that ready to roar.
Well, that's what we do.
That's how we roll.
That's right.
That's how we roll.
These are the East Coast brothers right now,
From the East,
reunited.
too?
That's right.
Oh, I could say a couple words to him, and he understands what I'm talking about. Like cheesesteak, he knows what I'm talking about.
That's it.
Not the stuff that's
it.
out here on the other side of the country. We need to go back to the east side of the country. But that's a whole other show to itself. So I won't waste your time, man. I want to get to it because I want you to talk to our listeners, man. First of all, you're from Jersey. Is that correct?
Yep.
So tell us what your upbringing and what made you get into this field of wanting to motivate and help people be all who they can be.
Yeah, you know what? I'll start from the beginning. So we're out here in San Diego, right? Southern California.
Right.
I'm really should be an adopted son because the town I was born in outside of Philly called Norristown, it's the hometown of, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tommy Lasorda and Mike
What?
Piazza, baby.
What?
All right.
Huh? I'm an adopted
So you got
son out
Dodger
here.
blue. Dodger blue in the
If they're not
blood.
feeling the love now,
Right.
what do I got to do? But
Right.
but no, I'm going to take you guys back to day one. Okay.
All right. We're ready.
Put up for adoption at birth in an orphanage in North Philly for 18 months of my life. The first 18 months of my life, adopted by two amazing
I love that.
people. And
love
when
that.
I tell you that, my mom was the definition of unconditional love. And big man, I tested that unconditional multiple times.
Oh, I bet.
So,
I bet.
Yes.
Left back in the second grade, diagnosed with ADD, said I had a learning disorder, never graduated high school. 19, I'm sitting in a jail cell looking at 8 to 10. If things don't go my way, that's just the first 19. So once they kicked me out of high school, I realized I had the entrepreneurial DNA. So over the last 20 plus years, I've been fortunate enough to have built and sold 3 companies in 3 different industries, and then also crashed one to the ground.
Woo! Let's talk about the crash one to the ground.
And that's it. And that's honestly, that's where the real value comes in on clients that I coach, because that's the real world, right?
Right.
That's the real. That's what
Right.
people. It's funny when I do speaking from stage, and then we'll do Q&A. It's always 2 things: what were you in jail for, and when did you crash to the ground? Right. People want to know. That's how you relate, and that's really what I really teach is the power in today's world. Branding and marketing in 2020 versus 2004, your personal brand trumps your business brand when you do it correctly.
I love
and
that.
how you share your signature story and weave in real world practical content, you win.
I love that because we are really becoming a society of self-indulgent people with Instagram and everything else, where we're just trying to always look like we're always shining and everyone is like this perfect person, when we know that's not the truth at all. And it's like what you just said about weaving in who you really are in your story is what makes you relatable. And I think we get away from that so much. We always think it's about the hype and the glam, and like we're all on reality TV shows. But the bottom line is, if you've not been through anything, what are you really teaching to anybody, right?
Yeah,
what are you
listen,
doing?
If you haven't been through anything, you're either lying, right?
Right.
Or you're an infant.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say.
Right.
And they've been through birth.
Right.
So it's so
Exactly.
true. And one of my quotes I love to stand by is, your vulnerability becomes your credibility.
I love that.
Right.
I
And
love
like
that.
you said,
Drop the mic.
so many people on Instagram and social media make it look like they paint this pretty picture. But here's what I am going to say, Wendy. If you do a little bit of research and people take their time and really look at the ones that they know for sure are winning, I promise you this, they're wearing their scars with pride.
That's right.
Because that's how you relate.
Absolutely.
That's how you connect.
Right.
That's why back 15 years ago, the reality shows put the sitcoms out of business, right?
Yeah, because it's
we
relatable.
want the real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And what I love about your story is, we're all about adoption in our family. Eric just adopted James in June and gave him his name. And to have a father figure, and we waited for 33 years to get that. And it just tugs on your heart. But so many people would shy away from the fact that they didn't finish high school or that they were adopted. But the way that you own it, like you said, it's your driving force behind everything you do, because it's like, if I can do this, you can do this, right? And so if you could touch a little on identity, I feel like this whole era is just like we are losing our identity. And I see the children coming up after us, and it's like there's an identity crisis going on. And the way you touch on that, I just love, because you're turning that pain or that tragedy into your brand, basically. Right.
And really, to be honest with you, Wendy, I don't even look at it as a tragedy. It's I first of all, I am so blessed, right? That they adopted me. And let me also explain this. So they were in their middle to late 40s when they adopted me. So I was raised by the World War II generation, right? That's as close to the immigrant mentality as we can get.
Right.
Here's my dad's philosophy. He was 82nd Airborne, World War II. He goes, lace up your boots, get to work. Nobody wants to hear it.
Okay.
That's
love it.
That's the mentality that I was raised with.
Right.
So it's the other way. It's the 180. I'm actually blessed. And there's times where I look around and go, man, how did I get so lucky?
Right.
That's the
It's
way I look.
all your mindset. That's what I'm saying. Everybody wants to be like this victim or this tragedy. And it's like, oh, somebody wronged me, and that's why I can't do anything with my life. And I'm sorry, but we have Dave Daley here, and he says otherwise, because he's proven the theory to be wrong.
And here's the reality, right? And I always say this. I don't make the rules. You don't make the rules. You don't make the rules. Life makes the rules.
That's right.
And life says if victims never win.
Right.
So if you want to win,
right,
and if you don't want to win, you don't want to win, right? There's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
If you want to win, you have to get out of that victim mentality.
Right.
And here's the other thing that I'd love to touch on, and I think we can go even deeper in a little bit of a different route. So my book is called Fearless is Bullshit.
Yeah,
okay?
I love that
And
book.
the reason that is because we were, and you're going to really understand this too, as a man coming from and a little boy growing up on the East Coast, especially, we were raised and brought up to feel that if you feel fear, you're broken, right? There's something wrong. And what I realized once I got older and I look back and I go, wait a minute, that's wrong. See, fear is a feeling like love, like joy, like anger, right? It's either going to be your heaviest anchor or your strongest propeller.
Right.
That's
absolutely.
And the deal with fear is to identify that fear, get to the other side so you can hit that courageous part of you, because courage comes from the 3-letter word core. It comes from in here,
That's right.
And I have a little life hack, right?
Okay.
So
I love it.
All right.
we're talking about
getting into
fears.
the good stuff
We're
now.
talking about fears, right? The fear of everything, the fear of this, the fear of that. But the number one fear that everyone gets stuck on, and let me give you the subtitle of my book, Fearless is Bullshit. Let me teach you how to get your lunch money back from the bully. The ultimate bully is fear, right? And the only way to get your lunch money back is to step up.
Right.
You could say whatever you want to make it sound good, but if you don't step up, you're going to lose your lunch. And I love to eat, so you want to get so. So I want to give you a little life hack, right? I believe the biggest fear in life, bar none, is the fear of what other people think.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That
right?
is so true.
Here's the hack. We're human beings. I'm going to judge. You're going to judge. You're going to judge. I'm going to be judged. You're both going to be judged on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
You ready?
Right.
Here's your only job. You just got to make them accurate. You
That's
just
right.
got to make them accurate. Here's
Make
what I
'em
mean by that.
accurate.
I met your son through my sports nutrition store. I would hear it on a daily basis. People that would just come into my store, we'd talk and I'd help them out with their supplements, and they'd go, you're so much nicer than I thought, right? Because of my appearance. You just have to make them accurate. That's your only job
Right.
and then move on.
Right. Well, and my other saying too is their opinion is not my problem. And I got that turned around for me, that their opinion is none of my business.
Yep.
So it's like it's not even about pleasing other people, but like you said, just showing up and being your authentic self instead of trying to be a people pleaser, because that's when you step away from yourself because you're assuming what you think they want from you. Right. And so I just think that, I mean, that covers a lot right there.
It does. And the second biggest fear is the fear of failure, right?
Yep.
Right.
And so since I was telling you about the business I crashed to the ground, is people say, well, how did you bounce back from that so quick? What did you, it was a restaurant, right? I realized I was better on this side of the counter than that side, right?
That would
and
be
what
me.
here's what I said, is at the end of the day, first of all, number one is you get to put that title on, not somebody else.
Right.
So if you do think that's a failure, then you put that title on, but don't let anybody else put that title on. Number two, here's what you do.
Good point.
If it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, here's what you do. And only you can do this. So when I closed the doors of my restaurant, I was home that night. I looked in the mirror and I said, if I didn't do this, would I regret it? And if my answer was yes, I won. My answer was yes.
That's right.
Now
I love
I
that.
can move on.
Right.
Now I can move on, because
And
I'm
done
much.
meets perfect, because now you know what you want to do and what you don't want to do, and you learn from it.
And
right?
if I am afraid of anything, if there's one thing the monster motivators are terrified of, is regret.
Right. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
That's
because I'm from the old school, the school of hard knocks, and done beats perfect. I want to learn whatever I can learn, so I always jump in the deep end. And okay, if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, I'm gonna learn something out of this. But if I never even get into the pool, the only person who's gonna lose out is me.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So tell us, what are your 3 biggest motivators?
You know what? It's really living life. The main thing is really living life on my terms. That's my biggest, because
being the author of your destiny.
for however long this ride is, right?
Right.
I want to be able to say that I lived it on my terms. That's it.
Yeah.
That's period.
Right. I love that. And I like, for us, our 3 core values for the House of Ingram is honor. First and foremost, you have to honor everyone. You know, we honor you because of what you've been through. So your wisdom, we're going to take from, right? So you can be a hater on what anybody's doing, or you can be their biggest fan and be like, hey, I'm going to learn from Dave instead of going down this road my own self, right? And then the other thing is love. And perfect love casts out all fear. That's the biggest thing. And so when you love yourself enough to give yourself permission to do it, and maybe not do it well, or you do it and you totally succeed, either way, you loved yourself enough to show up.
It's the
for yourself.
superpower.
It's the superpower. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the last one is just integrity. Just be a woman or a man of your word, which the biggest part of that out of your story is that no one else got to put labels on you. You own your own story, and you're the author of it. So I'm going to tell it my way. So you heard it from me first. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, I know you're getting ready to really start motivating people, because I know you're always ahead of the game. So what kind of boot camps or things can we look forward to?
Man, we
to
got
get us
some
ready?
really, really fun stuff. So we launched our Brand Builder TV podcast.
Love
on
it.
every platform known to man. We're going to be really exploding, focusing on our YouTube channel, and really getting it out there, and also promoting the 90-day Brand Builder Bootcamp, right?
Okay.
So we work with a lot of like high-end commission sales, small to medium-sized business owners, because that's been my world, right? On how to brand and market in 2020 versus 2004, because so many people are stuck in that 2004.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because, and that's it. That's you have to know, right? I always say the evolution train is leaving with or without you. The question is, are you getting on, or is it running you over?
Exactly.
Yeah, shame on me, because I really thought, I could bypass social media, and that was never going to have to be my thing. And then we just the more we started branding and the more we wanted to reach more people, it was like, dude, you got to get on board this train, Win. So,
and not only that, check this out. Not only get on board, right? But think about how fortunate we are to live in a time, right? That instead of fighting, scratching to get on a stage in front of 300 people, now we could be in front of 3 million people and repurpose all this. Right?
True.
Think about that, how fortunate we are, right? And
very
let's
true.
do a little paradigm shift.
Yeah.
Because your story, here's the deal. You ready? Whatever your stories are, here's what I tell people. You were bad enough to make it through. Now it's your obligation to share it.
I love that.
That's your obligation, Wendy, to share it. And you have platforms now to 10x it.
Oh,
get it? I got the chills.
Ooh, I just did too.
Because that's the because this is the world we live in. Right. Here's the other thing I want to share, and let's go back to younger kids. Right. We hear about this cyberbullying and all this. Here's the deal, kids. We hear the hater and the trolls, the haters and the trolls, the haters and trolls. I'm talking to all the kids out there. Right?
Tell them.
Make no mistake. They're your biggest fan.
Right.
You're taking up space in their head. They're taking time out of their day to post on your platform.
Right.
They are your biggest fan. Nobody's told them yet. Get it? Get it?
I love that.
Right?
I love that. No,
Look
that's
at that.
That's the truth.
That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly what my mom said when I was growing up, and the kids would throw rocks. Like, the fact that they even notice you're around says that you're either stirring them up and agitating them to be better, or they're following what you're doing and they don't want you to know it. So they're trying to catch you off guard.
And either way, it's a win.
It's a win both ways.
Either way, it's a win. You're occupying space in their mind.
I love that.
That's very, very, and people don't realize that is the highest end real estate, right? Because you can't get this time back.
Right.
Right. So
I love that. So why don't you tell us where we can find you? What are all the...
So I'm not hard to find. Dave Daley, DALEYMM, on all social media, YouTube, Brand Builder TV. Yeah, we are not hard to find. We're exploding our Instagram. We're up a little past 90,000 followers, and now we're gonna really focus on the YouTube. So yeah.
And I'm just gonna tell everybody out there not to be when they see your face or when they see you on TV, not to be intimidated, because you're a real softie for pit bulls. I know that for a fact.
And I tell people I'm a big teddy bear, but don't tell anybody. It's going to ruin my image. Yeah. Because me and my pit bull hear the same thing.
Right.
When someone meets us, you guys are so much nicer than we thought.
Yeah, exactly. So,
messing up the image, man.
Don't let that get out.
Come on.
I'm sorry. I just had to throw that out there because I don't want people to say, oh. Yeah, but I think your 90-day boot camp is going to be great, and I'm looking forward to. I think we are even going to try to do the 90-day boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as there's not too many weights involved, I'm okay. Because last time I did an event with Dave Daley, there was a little competition going on with weightlifting, and I was like, you know what, this might not be my platform after all.
This might not work for me.
But thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come here. We love you. I always just totally impressed with everything I see, and I am one of your biggest fans, because everything you're putting out there, I'm wanting to get more and more from you, because to me, anyone who can take the road you took and travel it, I want to be on that road, because like you said, it took us 3 years to even get a podcast going. And part of that was because we were like, well, who really needs to hear our story? And then we got inundated the last 6 months with people being like, the fact that you guys wrote a book called The Prodigal Couple says a lot right there. You know, we overcame a lot. And the biggest part about it is people do need to hear our story, like you said. And we just don't think that our story is that big of a deal. But every time we tell it, it's like, where have you guys been, and why haven't you been telling your story? So thank you for that little extra push to get us going because we're trying to get out. I know.
Right? It's your obligation.
I love
you made
that.
it through.
Yeah.
And it's your obligation. And what I love about the real life stories is I always say theory gets in the way. I want the real stuff, right? I want the people that have been there, done it, and are still doing it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And evolving through the process.
Absolutely.
I mean, we are growing by leaps and bounds, and that's the best part about being an entrepreneur is you get to set that tone. And so we're getting on the fast track now. So
Atta girl. Awesome.
Yeah. We're ready to be 10X.
They're doing it Monster Motivator style, baby.
That's right. Well, thank you so much for coming today. And we look forward to having more with you soon. And is there any final things you want to tell kids or young people that are considering? Because I know a lot of people try to discourage people from being entrepreneurs.
Here's the best advice I was given back in the day, and it's so powerful that's the reason why the business I crashed to the ground. Here's the deal: when you want to be an entrepreneur, to be a commissioned salesperson, right? Here's the deal: identify your weaknesses so you can enhance them with the people and the systems.
Yes.
So now you can triple
Love
down,
that.
quadruple down on your strengths.
Love that.
That's the key, right?
I love
so
that.
many new entrepreneurs and small business owners feel like they have to do it all.
Right.
And in today's world, you can get a VA for very inexpensive.
Yes.
You can get so many things.
Yes.
The resources at our disposal versus 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's night and day, right?
Yeah.
Enhance your weaknesses so you can run with your strengths.
Love it.
No, I think what's very, and we're gonna let you go, but I gotta ask this question because the whole time it's like when you said it, it's just been percolating in my brain.
Yeah, love it. I love it.
So you said you grew up with your adoptive parents, and your father. Your father was, when he had this mantra, kind of like,
lace up your boots and get to work.
Get to work, right? Who cares, right? You don't want to hear all that complaining.
Let's go.
Right?
Let's do it. Yeah.
But then you also had this quote: "Your vulnerability becomes your credibility." So when did you add the vulnerability piece? Because that mentality is you just get up and go and you do what you got to do. You don't have time to sit there and wallow and complain and all that kind of stuff. But now when you're coming out with this vulnerability, and this is the thing that men need to hear. See, this is why I'm bringing it back up.
Absolutely.
Because somehow the world and the devil has tricked people into thinking that if I'm vulnerable and I actually express who I am, that's weakness.
It's the opposite.
That's not weakness.
I see.
It's the opposite.
It is the exact
question.
opposite of that. So I want to, if we could walk down that road, just if we got a couple more minutes, because I think that is really important, and especially in today's age where we have a lot of people who are trying to, let's say, dumb men down, right? So that we can't walk in the strength that we're supposed to walk in. That we don't speak to things that we're afraid to get into the dirt, right? Because it could either go either way. If it's with something of the opposite sex, you got to be worried about, because you have all the Me Too stuff happening. So there's an energy in the world that is saying, men, don't do anything, don't say anything. But you know what? People are coming and robbing and taking away everything because men aren't standing up in their houses. They're letting their kids are going awry, and it's all because I want to hands off. I don't really want to. And I'm like, no. You have to not only be a strong man, you gotta be able to take it. Meaning, like, I understand that everyone wants this to happen, but in my house, this is not happening.
So I'll answer, because there's a few questions, right? So number one, there was no actual day or date that happened. It was an evolution, right? For me, sharing my vulnerability. And it was easier for me because when I look, everything I just share with you, it's just the truth, right? It's just the truth. So that makes it so much easier. Number two, you were talking about like society wanting to kind of weaken men. Here's what they have to understand, right? The only way to step up is to take accountability. So nobody's watering you down. You're either letting it happen or you're not, right? So taking accountability. And number three is I live my life through intention. Here's what I mean. I'm not always G-rated.
Right.
It's just not who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I use a word or a sentence that offends you, but my intention is pure to give back and help,
Right.
you got to figure that out. I'm good.
Right.
I can put my head on the pillow.
Right.
I live my life through intention.
Right.
If your intention is pure,
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
I like
if it's
that.
somebody that doesn't have pure intention, that's a different animal,
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
those three are really the best way for me to describe that is, man, you got to step up and take accountability,
Right.
right?
Right.
Whose life is this, right? And
good point.
the
Good
other thing that I want to touch on real quick too, because this is a I'm glad you went there, is how many single moms, right,
Yes.
that are trying to figure it out and get out there, right?
Right.
And at the end of the day, right, when they live with intention and they just move forward, everything falls into place.
I love that.
Everything falls into place. So I think it goes both ways, right?
Right.
Is
Yes.
and
Always,
again,
yes,
where
yes.
does this map back to? Victims never win.
Love it. Let's
Right?
end on that note
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
there.
I love that.
Thank you,
that.
man.
I love that. Hey, I thank you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the monster motivator, Dave Daley, in the house, on the House of Ingram. We are blessed to have him. And like I said, everything that he says, replay this because he has so many nuggets in here. I can't even remember.
I'm replaying it for myself.
Exactly. So with that, like I said, thank you, Dave Daley, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the House of Ingram. And for me and my wife, Wendy, this has been a blessing and an honor.
Yes.
And this is one of those shows we're going to go back and listen to ourselves. All right. So, hey, thank you guys for listening. We are out, the House of Ingram. We can't wait to see y'all for our next episode. Goodbye.